Right guys, so what we're doing now is we're carrying on, and now we've got our overall covering. We're going to start working into it now to actually give it the more desert look. So we're just carrying on with our sponging work, and now you're going to start to see the colour develop a lot more. So I'm going to turn you that to the rear stocks on the start there. And you can instantly see the change. Just place that there for a second. And you can see what I mean by the paint gathering, particularly on the corner here on the shoulder, if you think of the rear stock, or the rear buttstock, and on that edge there, try and concentrate and get a little bit extra paint on those angled parts, see? So you can actually see it. I'll roll that up there like that. Along that edge there, and obviously along this bit here, sort of a bigger build-up concentration of the paint. Anyhow, let's carry on. Still maintaining not a great deal of paint on the sponge, you know, just dabbing off any excess and just working our way. Again, remember what I said about the moving parts, is you can slide the sponge on that bit, but now you can really start working it in behind stuff. Get that sponge in there on them corners, and you see there on the edge of on the rear stop here, just start to run the sponge along the edges. Yeah, so you're starting to build up. It's almost like a bit of a shadow effect. So any edging, so if I just slide this out a touch, so that on the edge here you can run the sponge down that edge and along that edge there. And you'll start to see, you'll see what I mean when I'll get the camera off the stand and I'll show you, but you'll start to see what I was saying about don't rub the sponge across the flat surfaces of the gun, because this is exactly the effect I'm trying to. Let me just take this off of its stand, chaps. So if you can see, I'm trying to show you this bloody thing. Oh, this is a nightmare. There. Does that work for you guys? So you can see there I've run the sponge along that lip and obviously down this edge here, but then the stippling effect is still present in between those panels. Yeah, so that's what we're going for. Let me just put you back in the stand. Oh. Here we go. And this is going to be the same now, same technique for a majority of the rest of this paint job. Yeah, so again, still using my palette, dabbing the sponge in there, any excess just taking it off in the lid, and literally now I'm just working my way along the gun and any parts that need that additional, because if you are going for this effect, you might want to do it in OD green, and which is absolutely fine, just still give it the worn look. But I don't know, maybe it's because of all the conflicts we've had over the last recent history. Have all been desert based. Everyone's sort of got a love for the desert colour. I think it looks good. I do like it myself. And obviously don't want it to be perfect, you know what I mean? It's not got to be military precision, if you like. It's got to have its own sort of character to it. So you know, you're going to get, don't be hung up on, oh no, there's could do with a bit more there. You know, once come back to it. If it does look, if it's really sticking out once you finished it, then yeah, go back to it by all means. But for the majority of it, it will add the worn effect. You know what I mean? It's not going to be perfect, and it's certainly not meant to look perfect at all. But like down, particularly down these edges here, if I can move that camera a bit more. Down, if you look down here, you can start running the sponge down that, along that edge there, just to create that build up along edges. Yeah, you with me? And that will, you'll be surprised that even along the bottom of the pistol grip, you can run the sponge along that bottom lip, pistol grip, on the trigger. You know, anything that's got like a tight edge, you know, like a couple of mil, a little lip. You know, you've got your rear adjuster there at the back. Again, the Picatinny rails on the fronts of them, on the sides. And now you're really starting to layer up this desert colour. And compared to previous videos, it'll pay dividend to you by doing it this way. It takes longer than just going over it with a can. You know, that'll be done in sort of 10 minutes. But doing it this way, it does give it a lot more depth. And obviously, if you're going for that worn look, then this will certainly, I mean, it works for me. Like I said, guys, I'm no expert at all, but I've experimented on a couple of old moulds and bits of framing and stuff like that, and this effect has really worked well for me, and I enjoy it, actually, to be fair. Make sure you move your fire selector as well, chaps, because obviously you've got to get all around that, otherwise you'll have a perfect circle of clean bodywork, which is what you don't really want. So get it all in round there. And just stand back every now and again and look at it, and just try and keep the colour in the same on the main parts. Yeah, that's starting to look really good now. I'm very happy with that. So I'm going to move you down. Oh, if I can move this down here. Do a bit more of this suppressor from this side, just so you can see it, actually see the build up. And I'm literally just dabbing it all the way along. And you can see it starting to apply that colour. You don't have to do your suppressor, obviously some people have got to use a suppressor cover, but some don't, so it's entirely up to you. You know, your accessories, what you choose to paint and what you don't choose to paint, you know. Little bits at the front here, see this bit here, that's a little bit of mist, so it's just obviously I cleaned it off, quick press on there, that takes care of that. Any little parts, you can really get the sponge in there and give it a little twist just to get into them little corners that you can't quite get to normally. All around there. Yeah, that's looking good. A little bit more on that rail on this side here. So if I can turn you now, I'll try and get you around there. Perhaps I'll be able to do that. Oh, without damaging anything. There we go. Hopefully that's in focus. I'm trying doing this now, leaning over the gun. So we've got the Picatinny rail along here. So literally we're going to be dabbing it, and you'll see that. That's literally all I'm doing, chaps. And then, like I said, along the top runners here, you can run the sponge down each edge. You can just see it starting to change it now. A bit under here. And change your angle of where you're working from as well, because you'll notice parts that you've missed when you're looking down the gun or looking from front to back or back to front. You will notice parts that you have missed. So it's slightly dark up here still, so I'm just going to lightly dab that, and it's instantly changing. You see that there? Instantly changing that look. I notice a little tiny little part here, so I can just come round, a couple more layers to that, and that is really changing the look of that now. I'm just going to try and maneuver this again if I can. Oh, excuse me. There we go. Can I go back a touch now? Yes, I can. All right, that's cool. So let's go with this side now. We've got our sponge. We've got a palette. Plenty of paint on it. Dabbing off the excess. And then we're going into this side now here. Remember, we've got our stickers here hiding the dust cover, any moving parts you don't want to get paint on. Again, you pick it in your rail, you can run the sponge along that. And your raised edges as well, obviously around your mag well. A little twist effect on your fire selector, your pistol grip, your trigger guard, sorry, I keep calling it a pistol grip. You can just see in the middle here, still slightly blacker than the other areas. So again, a lightly covered sponge. And that's completely changing that now, isn't it? All around here, give it a little squeeze on that fire selector. And just keep layering it up. And you'll see now difference in the colour. If I grab another MP5, show you contrast. You can see that there. So you can clearly see the difference and how the layering gives it more depth as opposed to just spraying it with a rattle can in one go. It's fair enough if you're doing base colours and then adding details to it afterwards, but if you want to go for this proper worn effect, I've tried it doing it with just a rattle can straight onto the gun and I haven't been able to do it. So this is the method that I've found works best for me. Okay, right guys, I'm going to bring you back round here now. She's certainly getting there. Ooh, one colour. Nearly made a boo-boo. Okay. So our gun is now pretty much ready for our final phase, which is we will be using the rattle can for this bit. I'm very happy with that side. I'm just going to spin the gun red quickly now. All I've got is to hold the gun up is just a magazine, an old magazine, and it's just clamped in a little portable vise which goes on my workbench. And it just winds into there. I don't think you can see that or not. I don't matter if it bends the mag at the bottom out of shape because it's an old one, it doesn't work, so, and it just holds the gun nicely to work on. So just going to give it one last look around this side now, because this is a, and you can see there's bits there I need to slightly touch up. Right, so now we're happy with our full covering. Make one more little bit, which is in there. Right, now we're going to move on to this next part now, and that's literally going to get quite a heavy loaded paint on your sponge. And this is where I'm on about the edges now, a lot of the edges. So in here, you can literally this is what's going to give the oh, that's it. Here, just turn that. This is going to give it the original sort of, as if it was newly painted desert. Okay. That's looking good. There we go, guys. So we're pretty much there with our layering now. So literally all I'm going to do now is with the rattle can, from quite far away and very, very lightly, particularly on the main body area, I'm going to do just 2 swipes, very lightly. Literally like that. And the areas that you can't get to with a sponge, it'll slightly colour them. And the areas that you have got to with a sponge, it'll make them pop even more. So you'll get a, so for example, inside the Picatinny rail, it's got a very light covering now in the grooves, but the rest of it is more prominent, the desert colour, if you see what I mean. So you've always got that 2-tone. It's almost like you've got a darker desert sand colour and a lighter desert sand colour. And we're going to do that on the opposite side. So we'll spin that round, just balance him in there. And again, nice and light from quite far away. And that, chaps, is pretty much it. If you do find it too light, you can use your OD green And again, from quite far away, you can give it one very light, just to darken that down ever so slightly. But it's literally, I'll probably say a good 2 cans width away from the gun. If you want to be doing this spraying effect, so a good 2 cans width. So I'd say that's a good 400 mil maybe. You mean maybe your elbow to your hand away from the gun, just to do that last little effect. And if I take this off now, I'll spin the old. Can I do that? No, maybe not. So I'll show you that now. And that is basically it. Completely covered. And if I can get that other MP5 just to show the contrast jets. So there we go. Hope that helps. And if you're interested, I can do a couple more videos on some bits and bobs that I've been doing. Obviously I've got the M4, which is already done up the top there, which I'm well happy with. And yeah, thanks guys.